Forgive yourself. Those two words, so simple, so profound. Yet for so many they remain locked away, whispered only in the deepest chambers of the heart, a silent plea echoing unanswered. We carry burdens heavy and unseen, chains forged from past mistakes, missed opportunities, unspoken words, and the gnawing regret of what could have been. We walk through life, shadows tethered to our heels, dragging the weight of yesterday into the light of today. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking your tomorrow lies not in relentless self-punishment, nor in the endless pursuit of perfection, but in the radical, revolutionary act of forgiving yourself? We've all stood at that precipice, haven't we? That dizzying edge where the past, heavy and unforgiving, threatens to pull us into its cold abyss. We replay the moments, the missteps, the words left unsaid, or worse, the ones we wish we could snatch back from the echoes of time. Each regret, a shackle. Every perceived failure, a chain binding us to a phantom self, a ghost of who we once were, or perhaps who we feared we were. It's a silent, relentless war waged within, a battle for liberation against an enemy we often fail to recognize, ourselves. Consider the titans of industry, the visionaries who sculpted our modern world. Do you imagine a life devoid of error for a Carnegie, a Rockefeller, an Edison? Every incandescent bulb, every towering skyscraper, every colossal fortune built on the bedrock of countless trials, countless failures. But the history books, the grand narratives, often gloss over the interior landscape of these architects of progress. They don't dwell on the sleepless nights, the gnawing doubts, the profound disappointments that surely accompanied each setback. Yet they pressed on. They didn't allow the weight of their past decisions, their perceived shortcomings, to calcify into an immovable monument of self-condemnation. They understood, perhaps instinctively, a truth so profound, so liberating, that it holds the key to unlocking your own dormant power, the absolute necessity of forgiveness. Not just forgiveness for others, not just forgiveness from some external force, but the radical, transformative power of forgiving yourself. We cling to these wounds, these self-inflicted narratives of inadequacy, as if they are badges of honor, proof of our suffering. We believe that by holding on to the pain, we somehow atone for past transgressions, real or imagined. But this is a cruel deception. This relentless self-flagellation does not cleanse, it cripples. It does not purify, it poisons. It does not propel us forward. It anchors us firmly to the very ground we desperately need to leave behind. Think of the great emancipators, not just of nations, but of minds. Lincoln, a man steeped in loss and burdened by the colossal weight of a fracturing nation, could have easily succumbed to despair, to self-blame for the horrors of war. Yet he rose above, his vision fixed not on the past, but on the future of unity, understanding that the path to progress required a releasing of vengeance, a shedding of the old. His profound acts of forgiveness, both political and personal, were not signs of weakness, but of unparalleled strength. The journey begins not with a grand gesture, but with a subtle shift in your internal dialogue. It's about recognizing the narrative you've woven around your past, the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you are capable of. For too long, we've allowed external voices, societal expectations, and even our own youthful insecurities to dictate our worth. We internalize criticism, magnify mistakes, and diminish our triumphs. This is the fertile ground where self-condemnation takes root and flourishes. Imagine a mind, not as a dusty attic filled with forgotten relics and cobwebbed regrets, but as a vibrant, living garden. What seeds are you planting? Are they seeds of self-doubt, of bitter remembrance, of perpetual regret? Or are they seeds of growth, of understanding, of profound self-acceptance? Forgiveness is the act of tilling that soil, of uprooting the weeds of negativity and preparing it for a future harvest. It is not about condoning past errors, but about acknowledging them, learning from them, and then, crucially, releasing their stranglehold on your present and future. This isn't a passive act. It requires courage, a willingness to confront the shadows you've carefully hidden away. It demands a level of introspection that can be uncomfortable, even painful. But remember, true power is not found in avoidance. It is forged in confrontation. Just as an athlete must push beyond the limits of comfort to build strength, so too must you delve into the uncomfortable truths of your past to liberate your spirit. This is the essence of self-mastery, taking ownership not just of your successes, but of your entire journey, flaws and all. What do you truly believe about yourself? Is it a belief forged in the crucible of your past failures, or one anchored in the boundless potential of your future? Napoleon Hill understood that belief is the fertile ground from which all achievement springs. But how can genuine, unwavering belief take root if the soil of your being is poisoned by self-reproach? The act of forgiving yourself is a radical act of belief in your own capacity for transformation, your own inherent worthiness. It's a declaration that your past does not define your future, that your mistakes do not diminish your potential. Consider the early struggles of Walt Disney. Countless rejections, financial setbacks, even being told he lacked imagination. Imagine if he had allowed those pronouncements, those very real failures, to define him. The magical kingdoms, the timeless stories, the entire empire built on dreams would have remained unseen, unheard, uncreated. His ability to move past those initial rejections, to not internalize them as definitive statements of his inadequacy, was a profound act of self-belief, a powerful testament to the liberating force of not allowing the past to dictate the future. He understood that true genius wasn't about avoiding mistakes, but about learning from them and pushing forward with an unshakable conviction in his vision. This isn't about erasing your memory of past events. It's about transforming your relationship with those memories. It's about understanding that every misstep, every stumble, every moment of perceived weakness was a lesson, an invaluable piece of data in the grand experiment of your life. Without them, you would lack the depth, the wisdom, the empathy that now resides within you. To forgive yourself is to acknowledge this profound truth, that you are not the sum of your mistakes, but the culmination of your growth through those mistakes. It's about shifting from a narrative of blame to a narrative of growth. Self-condemnation is a thick fog that obscures your true path. It blurs your vision, distorts your perception of opportunities, and shackles your innate abilities. When you are constantly replaying past failures, analyzing every misstep, you are diverting precious mental energy away from charting a clear course forward. Forgiveness, then, becomes an act of profound clarity. It's like wiping clean a dusty mirror, allowing you to see yourself, your goals, and your potential with unblemished precision. Think of it as shedding a heavy cloak. For so long you've worn the cloak of regret, and it has weighed you down, hindering your movement, dimming your light. When you finally release the past, when you truly forgive yourself, that cloak falls away. And in that moment of lightness, a profound clarity emerges. You begin to see possibilities that were previously hidden, solutions that were once obscured by the fog of self-doubt. Your energy, once consumed by the endless loop of self-reproach, is now free to be directed towards creation, towards progress, towards the very things that will propel you towards your highest aspirations. This clarity extends beyond your personal goals. It sharpens your understanding of your values, your strengths, and your unique contribution to the world. It allows you to define what truly matters, unburdened by the expectations or judgments of your past self. Imagine yourself standing at the foot of a towering mountain, your summit shrouded in mist. Forgiving yourself is like the sun breaking through those clouds, revealing the path, highlighting the handholds, illuminating the way forward. You can only truly begin the ascent when you can clearly see the peak. With clarity comes the power to forge a compelling vision. Without self-forgiveness, your vision is often constrained by the limitations you've imposed on yourself. You aim lower, dream smaller, because deep down you believe you are unworthy of more, that your past disqualifies you from a grander future. But a liberated mind, a mind free from the shackles of yesterday's burdens, is a mind capable of audacious, transformative vision. Consider the audacious vision of Henry Ford. His early attempts at the quadricycle were rudimentary. His initial company dissolved. Yet, he held a steadfast vision of making the automobile accessible to the masses. Imagine if he had allowed the early failures, the financial losses, to convince him he was not destined for such an endeavor. The assembly line, the Model T, the democratization of transportation, all would have remained unrealized. His ability to maintain a clear, unyielding vision, despite setbacks, was intrinsically linked to his capacity to move past those setbacks, to not be defined by them. He didn't dwell on what went wrong. He focused relentlessly on what could be. Your past mistakes, when viewed through the lens of self-forgiveness, become not anchors, but launch pads. They offer invaluable data points informing your future decisions, sharpening your focus, and strengthening your resolve. Your vision, once clouded by self-doubt, can now expand to encompass the extraordinary. This is the power of a mind unburdened, to conceive of possibilities previously deemed impossible, to craft a future unconstrained by the limitations of the past. It's about giving yourself permission to dream, truly dream, without the constant whisper of "you're not good enough," echoing from within. Forgiving yourself isn't just about releasing the past. It's about discovering and igniting your profound purpose. When you are trapped in a cycle of self-blame, your energy is diverted, your focus fragmented. You become reactive, driven by external pressures or the need to compensate for perceived shortcomings. But when you shed the weight of self-condemnation, your true purpose, your inherent calling, begins to emerge with astonishing clarity. Think of Abraham Lincoln again. His life was a tapestry woven with personal tragedy, political setbacks, and immense national strife. Yet through it all, he held onto an unwavering purpose: the preservation of the Union and the abolition of slavery. Imagine if he had allowed the bitterness of past losses, the criticism, or the immense pressure to shatter his resolve. His purpose, fueled by a deep moral conviction, transcended personal pain. He understood that his actions, even in the face of profound adversity, served a higher calling. His ability to endure, to forgive himself for perceived inadequacies, to push through the immense burdens, was fundamental to his extraordinary impact. Your purpose is not found in the shadows of your past. It resides in the light of your potential. When you forgive yourself, you free up the emotional and mental real estate necessary to connect with that deeper calling. You stop trying to prove your worth and start living from a place of inherent value. This shift is transformative. It moves you from a place of striving to a place of being, from constantly reacting to consciously creating. Your purpose becomes your compass, guiding you through every challenge, providing unwavering direction, and igniting a fire within that no external force can extinguish. This fire, once fully ablaze, becomes an unstoppable force, propelling you towards the realization of your highest ideals. The disciplined mind is not one that punishes itself for past infractions, but one that learns, adapts, and relentlessly moves forward. Forgiveness, in this context, isn't about leniency. It's about intelligent self-governance. It's about choosing to direct your energy towards constructive action rather than destructive self-criticism. True discipline stems from a place of self-respect, a respect that is impossible to cultivate when you are constantly condemning yourself. Imagine the disciplined pursuit of mastery. A musician practices for hours, not because they hate their past performances, but because they are committed to future excellence. An athlete trains rigorously, not to atone for a previous loss, but to achieve a future victory. This forward-looking approach, this relentless focus on improvement, is only possible when you are not constantly looking over your shoulder, replaying past failures. The discipline born from self-forgiveness is proactive, not reactive. It is fueled by hope, not regret. When you release the heavy burden of past mistakes, your capacity for sustained effort dramatically increases. The mental friction created by self-reproach dissipates, allowing for a smoother, more efficient flow of energy towards your goals. You become more consistent, more resilient, and ultimately more effective. The disciplined mind, free from self-imposed limitations, becomes a powerful engine for progress, a force for conscious creation rather than unconscious reaction. It's about building a future, brick by disciplined brick, unburdened by the crumbling edifice of past regrets. All the mindset shifts, all the clarity, all the vision and purpose mean nothing without action. And often, it is the fear of repeating past mistakes, the deep-seated self-doubt born from unforgiven moments, that paralyzes us, preventing us from taking the bold, decisive action required for significant achievement. Forgiving yourself is not merely a mental exercise. It is the catalyst for inspired action. It's the permission slip you grant yourself to step boldly onto the stage of your own life, unburdened by the weight of yesterday's failures. Consider the vast leaps of faith taken by entrepreneurs, innovators, and artists throughout history. They didn't achieve greatness by dwelling on potential pitfalls or past missteps. They acted. They launched. They created. Their courage to act, often in the face of uncertainty and past disappointments, was a testament to their inner freedom, their ability to not be defined by previous outcomes. Thomas Edison's thousands of failures before the successful light bulb were not true failures in his mind, but invaluable lessons. He didn't stop because he felt he had failed. He kept acting, iterating, learning, and pressing forward. His success was not an absence of failure, but a relentless persistence through it. When you truly forgive yourself, you stop seeking external validation and start acting from a place of inner conviction. The fear of judgment, both from others and from your own internal critic, diminishes. You become less concerned with the outcome and more focused on the process, on the learning, on the relentless pursuit of your vision. This is where true power lies, in the unwavering commitment to action, fueled by the liberating understanding that your past does not predict your future, and that every step forward, regardless of its immediate outcome, is a step towards your ultimate destiny. Action becomes not a burden, but a joyful expression of your liberated self. It might seem paradoxical, but genuine gratitude is a powerful antidote to regret. When you are mired in self-condemnation, your focus is invariably on what went wrong, what you lack, what you could have done differently. This breeds a scarcity mindset, a feeling of incompleteness. But when you cultivate a profound sense of gratitude, even for the most challenging experiences, you begin to see the hidden gifts within every setback, the lessons embedded in every perceived failure. Forgiving yourself allows you to shift your perspective from what you lost to what you gained. It's about acknowledging that even the most painful experiences contributed to your growth, shaping you into the resilient, wise, and compassionate individual you are today. This isn't about being naive or ignoring real pain. It's about choosing to see the silver lining, to find the wisdom that emerged from the crucible of your trials. The path of growth is never linear, and often the greatest breakthroughs come from the deepest valleys. Consider the immense challenges faced by someone like Viktor Frankl, enduring unimaginable suffering in concentration camps. His ability to find meaning, to maintain a spirit of defiance against despair, was a profound act of mental fortitude and, implicitly, a form of self-preservation from the corrosive effects of bitterness and regret. While his circumstances were extreme, his philosophical stance offers a universal truth. Even in the darkest moments, we have the choice to find meaning, to choose our attitude, and to cultivate gratitude for the lessons learned, however harsh. When you cultivate gratitude for the entirety of your journey, flaws and all, you begin to appreciate the richness and complexity of your own story. You stop fighting your past and start embracing it as an integral part of your evolution. Life is a dynamic, ever-changing river. To cling to the past, to stubbornly hold on to old narratives of self-worth or inadequacy is to resist the natural flow of existence. Forgiveness, in this sense, is an act of profound adaptability. It's about letting go of what no longer serves you, releasing the rigidity of past expectations, and embracing the fluid, evolving nature of your own being. When you forgive yourself, you create space for new experiences, new understandings, and new versions of yourself to emerge. Think of a mighty oak tree. It bends with the wind, sheds its leaves in winter, and grows new ones in spring. It adapts to the changing seasons, not by resisting, but by flowing with the rhythm of nature. If it tried to cling to old leaves or remain rigid, it would break. Similarly, if we cling to old identities, old mistakes, old narratives of who we are, we become brittle. We lose our capacity for growth, for transformation, for true adaptability in the face of life's inevitable currents. This ability to adapt, to pivot, to reinvent oneself is a hallmark of truly successful individuals. They are not defined by their last success or their last failure. They are defined by their relentless pursuit of improvement. their willingness to learn, and their courage to embrace change. Forgiving yourself is the liberating act that allows you to shed the skin of your past and step into the boundless possibilities of your future, open to whatever life throws your way, knowing that you possess the inner resources to navigate any challenge. You become a master of your own evolution, flowing with life's currents rather than fighting against them. The true measure of a person is not how often they fall, but how quickly and powerfully they rise. And the capacity to rise, to bounce back from adversity, is directly proportional to your ability to forgive yourself for the stumbles. When you are constantly replaying failures, you undermine your own resilience, eroding your self-trust and making each new challenge feel insurmountable. Forgiveness, then, is the bedrock of an unbreakable spirit, the forge in which true resilience is tempered. Consider the story of Colonel Sanders, who faced countless rejections and setbacks before finding success with Kentucky Fried Chicken in his later years. Imagine the internal fortitude required to persist, to not let the thousands of no's define him. His resilience wasn't just about external persistence. It was about an internal capacity to move past disappointment, to not internalize rejection as a personal failing, but as part of the journey. He could not have continued if he harbored deep-seated resentment or unforgiveness toward himself for past choices or perceived shortcomings. To forgive yourself is to acknowledge your humanity, to accept that mistakes are an inherent part of the learning process, and to release the expectation of perfection. This acceptance is not weakness, it is the ultimate strength. It allows you to learn from your experiences without being crushed by them, to grow from your pain without being defined by it. Your spirit becomes less fragile, less susceptible to the blows of life, because you understand that setbacks are merely detours, not dead ends. You become a phoenix, capable of rising from the ashes of every past experience, stronger and more vibrant than before. Life is an infinite classroom, and every experience, every interaction, every perceived failure is a lesson waiting to be integrated. But if you are constantly condemning yourself for past mistakes, you block your capacity to truly learn from them. The mental and emotional energy consumed by self-reproach leaves no room for genuine introspection, for extracting the invaluable wisdom embedded within every challenge. Forgiveness unlocks the door to this continuous learning, transforming your past from a source of shame into a wellspring of profound insight. Think of how children learn. They fall, they stumble, they make messes, but they rarely internalize these as fundamental failures. They get up, dust themselves off, and try again, driven by an innate curiosity and a profound willingness to learn. They embody a natural, unburdened self-forgiveness that allows for rapid growth. As adults, we often lose this natural capacity, replacing it with a harsh inner critic. When you forgive yourself, you stop seeing your mistakes as evidence of your inadequacy and start seeing them as valuable data points, as crucial feedback in the ongoing experiment of your life. You become an active participant in your own evolution, dissecting experiences, extracting lessons, and integrating them into your ever-expanding knowledge base. This is the essence of true intelligence. Not the absence of error, but the relentless pursuit of understanding through error. Your past, once a source of pain, transforms into your greatest teacher, constantly offering new insights and guiding you towards greater wisdom. And so, we arrive at this moment. You stand at the threshold of a new beginning, not because the past has been erased, but because you have chosen to transform your relationship with it. The journey of forgiving yourself is not a one-time event. It is a continuous unfolding, a daily practice of compassion, understanding, and radical self-acceptance. It is the most profound act of self-love you can undertake, and it is the key to unlocking the boundless potential that resides within you. The greatest leaders, the most impactful visionaries, the individuals who have truly shaped our world were not perfect beings untouched by error or regret. Far from it. They were human, deeply flawed, and susceptible to the same vulnerabilities as any of us. But what distinguished them was their capacity to rise above, to learn, to adapt, and crucially, to forgive themselves for their missteps, allowing them to redirect their energy towards a greater purpose. They understood that the future was not dictated by the past, but crafted by the choices made in the present. The power to forgive yourself is not merely a psychological tool, it is a spiritual awakening. It is the recognition that you are an evolving being, constantly learning, constantly growing. It is the liberation of your soul from the self-imposed prison of regret, allowing your true, unburdened self to shine forth. Imagine the weight lifted, the freedom gained, the boundless energy unleashed when you truly, deeply, profoundly forgive yourself. This is your moment. This is your invitation to step into the fullness of your power, to release the phantom chains that bind you to yesterday, and to embrace the limitless possibilities of tomorrow. The future, unwritten and waiting, is calling to you. Will you answer its call, unburdened and free? Will you choose to craft a destiny defined not by what you once were, but by who you are becoming right now in this powerful, liberating moment? The choice, as always, is yours. Rise. Forgive. Embrace. Lead.